I'm Max Verstappen. I'm 22 years old. I race for Aston Martin Rebel Racing. I'm the best driver because I believe that I'm the best. Because every driver needs to think like that, otherwise it's better to stay at home.
F1 GP results. Max Verstappen wins after red flag. Red Bull's Max Verstappen won the Dutch Grand Prix, round 13 of the 2023 Formula One World Championship at Zandvoort. Verstappen's wins his third straight home win, making it a record 9 over Fernando Alonso, Aston Martin, and Pierre Gasly, Alpine, after heavy rain after the Zhou Guanyu at the first corner with 5 laps to go hoisted a red flag. Sergio Perez, Red Bull, lost third place to Gasly due to a speeding penalty in the pits. On a dry track and with soft tires, Verstappen prevailed in turn 1 in front of Lando Norris, McLaren, and George Russell, Mercedes. Alonso snatched third place from Russell at turn 3 as it started to rain and riders noticed the wet surface of the final track. Corners: Perez, Charles Leclerc, Ferrari, Zhou, Alfa Romeo, and Gasly stopped at the end of the first lap to fit intermediate tires, but Ferrari was unable to prepare the tires for Leclerc and he lost a lot of time. Alonso's passed Norris for second at turn 3 before Verstappen and Alonso collided at the end of lap 2. Norris fell by the wayside, but Russell passed him at turn 1. Perez, the first car in the transition, quickly passed Norris and Russell and took the lead midway through the third lap. Zhou also moved up to second with an early pit stop. Norris pitted a lap later, he dropped to 12th, but Russell stayed on slicks for another slow lap and dropped to 14th, 1 place behind teammate Lewis Hamilton. Perez was ahead of Zhou, Gasly and Verstappen, who was 14 seconds off the leader by lap 5. Verstappen passed Gasly at turn 3 and Alonso returned to the top 5 ahead of Leclerc. Verstappen passed Zhou at turn 3 on lap 7 and was now 10 seconds behind leader Perez and took the lead. Zhou and Alonso switched to slicks on lap 11 and Verstappen did the same later. As Perez did one more lap, Verstappen was able to overtake him and take the lead from third place. 0.5 seconds. Alonso quickly dealt with Zhou, Gasly and Sainz also passed him. Leclerc suffered another delay when Ferrari switched the front wings to slicks, dropping to 13th place and then retiring with floor damage after colliding with Oscar Piastri's McLaren at the start. Logan Sargent crashed his Williams at turn 8, resulting in the safety car being deployed on lap 17. The race resumed on lap 22 with Verstappen ahead of Perez, Alonso, Gasly, Sainz and Zhou. Alex Albon, who hadn't gotten his Williams out at the break, moved up to 7th ahead of Kevin Magnussen's Haas and then finished 6th ahead of Zhou. Verstappen led by 5 seconds at halftime, with Alonso 4 seconds behind Perez in third place. Sainz moved up to the softer tires from 5th place on lap 42, confident that Gasly would receive a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and moved up to 4th place when Gasly pitted on lap 47. He did this. Alonso suffered from slow braking as his left front tire refused to slow down, briefly giving Sainz third place. Verstappen made his last stop on lap 50 and reclaimed a 6-second lead. Sainz was 11 seconds ahead, but Alonso was chasing him. Alonso passed Sainz with 20 laps to go in Tarzan to reclaim the podium. Sainz and Gasly, tired, late but fresher, then battled for 4th place. Gasly passed him with a brilliant outside pass at turn 1. Russell returned to the top 6 thanks to the hard tire risk, but Albon, who had taken over with a bold strategic approach to a stop on soft and medium tires, he overtook him with 18 laps to go, also at Tarzan. Hamilton passed Russell for 7th after the latter stepped on the turf and nearly fell. Perez, Gasly, Sainz and Hamilton pitted on lap 61 when it was raining heavily again. Verstappen pitted a lap later and also used rallies, and Alonso and Albon followed suit. This restored the starting order as Verstappen led by 19 seconds over Perez, Alonso, Gasly, Sainz, Hamilton, Norris, Russell and Albon. However, Perez went straight for Tarzan and then spun, losing second place to Alonso. Yuki Tsunoda, AlphaTauri, left and joined before Zhou crashed violently there. Verstappen and Perez, who hit the wall at the pit lane entrance, stopped in extremely wet conditions as the virtual safety car raised a red flag. Verstappen retained the lead, but Perez dropped to sixth, favoring Gasly, Sainz, and Hamilton. However, the order was reset by the sector prior to the red flag, demoting Perez to third place. After a few laps behind the safety car and all cars in the intermediates, the race resumed with Verstappen leading Alonso, Perez, Gasly, Sainz, Hamilton, and Norris with 5 laps to go. Russell passed Norris at turn 3 to finish 7th, but his Mercedes pitted at the end of lap 68 with a puncture after colliding with Norris later on the track. Alonso kept Verstappen honest until the end, but the home side held onto the win by over 3 seconds. Perez received a 5-second speeding penalty in the pit lane, and Gasly took the opportunity to finish last on the podium. After a tough battle, Sainz overtook Hamilton to finish 5th ahead of Norris, Albon, and Piastri.